Alright, y'all, I am so excited. This is the first ever episode of the Homemakers podcast, and my name is Kimi if you are new here. So, if you're watching me on YouTube, you are seeing the mess that we created in the span of a couple of days. Uh, so on YouTube, we're going to be cleaning that up. So I've got some speed cleaning motivation for you. I'm also giving you a little glimpse of how my seedlings are doing if you like gardening. But today we're going to dive right in. So what we're going to talk about is self-worth as a housewife. And this came from a wife that does not have any children. So I can relate, and I know there's quite a few people that watch me that can relate to this as well. There's just circumstances. Some of us aren't able to have kids. Some of us just don't want to have kids. And you know what? That is totally okay. Don't let anybody shame you for being a housewife without children. There's nothing that says you can't stay at home and help provide in other ways for your spouse without having kids. Like you can do it without kids. So yeah, let's just go ahead and jump right into this. I wanted to start off by saying, one, where does your self-worth come from? And I want you to be honest with yourself. So write it down, pull out your phone, put it somewhere where you can remember. Just write down all the ways that you find your self-worth. And don't write down what you think the answer is. Write down what you think, what you feel. I know there's many times where I thought that my self-worth came from my job. I thought it came from maybe my skills, my education. I thought it came from how good of a friend I am and how good of a spouse I am. I thought it came from all of these external places. And what happens with that is when you put your self-worth in external people, places, and things, if at any time you feel the slightest rejection from where you've put your self-worth, it really does impact you emotionally, mentally, sometimes even physically. So I want you to write down where your self-worth comes from and be honest with yourself. If you want to say your job, if that's the truth, then that is what you need to write down. Don't say that it comes from yourself if you are not in the place where it's coming from yourself. Okay, so number 2, if it is coming externally, we are giving our power to people, places, and things. So that's what I was saying earlier. And when we give our power to people, places, and things, they dictate, or the situation, the environment dictates how we perceive ourselves. Okay? So number 3, when our self-worth is external, we have the power to expand on it. And I meant internal. We're going with the flow, y'all. This is the first time. I'm sure there's going to be some hiccups, but you know what? My saying is my best is enough. And right now, if that's my best, that's my best. And that's what I'm giving y'all. And that's all I expect out of you as well. So number 3 was when our self-worth is internal, we have the power to expand on it. We get to determine the value in us. So I'll just tell you a story, which I'd already kind of briefly mentioned in a live stream on Instagram. But I, for some reason, was putting all of my self-worth in being a homemaker. And I felt like, if I don't do the dishes today, I'm not as worthy. If I cook something and it doesn't turn out as great, I'm not as worthy. And what happened when I was doing that, and Aaron would tell me, which if you're new, Aaron is my spouse. We are not legally married. I always feel like I have to give that as a disclaimer because people like to hold it against me, but we have been together for 7 years now. In this year in November will be 7 full years, and then we'll be going on our 8 years, which is just crazy to me. But anytime he would say, oh, maybe next time we can cook it this way, or oh, maybe next time add a little more salt, or hey, there was too much salt, it would tear me apart. It would eat me alive, because I would feel like I was not good enough because I didn't do it perfectly. And that's another reason why I say my best is enough. It's enough, because there is no perfect. That is something that I learned recently. Not that there's not any perfect. I'm aware of that. But something I really had to sit with myself with the other day is that if I am trying to achieve perfection, nothing is going to manifest from that. Nothing good is going to manifest from that, because perfection does not exist. So that means if it's not real, it can't come to pass. Does that make sense? Like, I can't have this crazy goal if I don't believe in myself. I have to believe in myself first. We have to meet ourselves where we're at, you know? So I was putting all of my self-worth and validation into my food, into my cleaning, into how I treated other people. By the way, if you're on YouTube right now, but also on the podcast, I am sharing some gold cutlery. I have some Power LED fairy lights, and then I also have a few potato ricers, which I just call them mashers. They're stainless steel. But anyways, I'm doing a giveaway, so definitely comment down below on this video, on my Instagram, anywhere, and just put what you would like to win. I have a huge box of this stuff, so don't be shy. If you want the gold cutlery, let me know. I have plenty of them. And I have enough for me too. Like, we are living in surplus today. So yeah, getting back to the cleaning and getting back to what we were saying. I was putting all my self-worth in external things, and it really tore me apart. And it really invalidated me and made me feel this sense of not enough, that I'm never enough. And you know, it's crazy, but it is, because I was trying to achieve perfect, which is never going to happen. So no wonder why I felt like I was never enough, because I was trying to achieve something that's not realistic. So this is what I want to tell you now. Like, okay, what are the action steps? Like, okay, Kimmy, I do feel like I'm putting my value in my skills, in my homemaking, and not in myself. How do I find value in myself? So that's what we're going to talk about now. So how to build self-worth. Write down all the ways you have ever felt unworthy. So I have felt unworthy when I don't cook something correctly. I have felt unworthy when I've let a pile of laundry sit in my chair for 3 days. And now I want you to pause this if you need to. Write all that stuff down so it doesn't lose you. And then I'm just gonna give you an example. So it's gonna feel like we're going backwards for a minute, but we really have to get to the root of the cause before we can move forward. So as much as it may pain you, you may cry, like, you need to be able to let yourself do that, because it's a temporary feeling. It's gonna go away. If you really go into this believing that you can make this shift, it can happen very quickly. So, and it's funny because, you know, I've heard people tell me that too, and I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna cry, like, I'm not gonna cry. And then I wrote down all the ways that I felt like garbage, and I cried. But you know what? It was important for me to cry because I got it out of my system. And we need to get it out of our system. That way we can invite more better positive things into our life. So let's just use lack of skills. Who set the criteria? Who said that you have to fold your laundry every single day as soon as it comes out of the dryer? Who said that you have to cook things right every single time? Who said that? Okay? Is it an external person? Is it an external thing, a place? Is it external? Do we base our self-worth externally? And the answer is no. Or at least we don't want to be doing that, right? We want to find value in ourselves. We want to wake up every morning and feel like we're good enough, regardless of what we get done that day. Because we are, like, that's the honest truth. We are born good enough. We're born good enough. So it doesn't need to come from external places, right? Okay. So should a lack of skills devalue us? If it's not coming externally and there's no criteria, then no, it shouldn't devalue us. So let's say I suck at cooking. I suck at cooking, you know? Does that make me any more or less of a person? Absolutely not. No way. Do I let my dishes sit in the sink for a day and then I get ants all over my countertop because I just didn't want to get my dishes done? You know what? If I had a low efficient day, we don't say lazy anymore, okay? That is a negative word. We say low efficiency. I just was not at a place today to be efficient enough to get my dishes done. And my body needed rest in that moment instead. We should never feel guilty for taking a rest. You should never feel like you need to have your house clean before you can sit down and watch TV. Maybe it is necessary for you to sit down and watch your favorite episode on TV, and then by the time you're done with that 30-minute to an hour episode, you feel like you have more energy to get things done. So if it feels like you're doing it backwards, who cares? If it works for you, it works for you. There was a time last year that I would play a video game, and it was Spyro. So like every mission, you could say, would take me about 20 minutes. So I would do a mission, and then I would get up and I would film. I would get up and I would do something proactive, right? And then I would do that for about 30 minutes to an hour, and then I would sit down and I would play my video game again. And you know what? I got so much stuff done that day, and it's because I was allowing myself the freedom to spend time with me first and then take care of the house. We have to put ourselves first in order to, you know, you've heard the saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. And you know, some people think, oh, well, that means I can't give to other people. But it's not about that. We cannot find value in ourselves if there's not value there. You know, like we can't give value if there's not value already there. So don't even think about, oh, I need to take care of myself so I can take care of others. I want you to just think of yourself right now. And I know that may sound really cringy. It may seem like, oh my gosh, she's telling me to think about myself. Yes, love yourself today. Love yourself. You are enough today. Okay? There's no criteria. Your self-worth in being a wife without a child, you don't need to feel guilty for not having kids and still wanting to be at home and help out around the house. If you are showing up every day as your best self, you're worthy. You're worthy. You're born worthy. You can skip a day. You don't have to clean. If your spouse comes home and they're saying, oh my gosh, you didn't do the dishes today, that has nothing to do with you. That is the issue with them. And that's something that they need to work on. And there are ways that you can contact people to get help with that. I understand that there are situations environmentally where we put ourselves, well, we don't put ourselves in this situation. We find ourselves in this situation. I think that's a better way of putting it. We're never going to be victims. We're never placing blame on ourselves. There are things that are external that happen to us, and it is out of our control. So if that's a situation that any of you find yourself in, I want you to know that there is a way out, and that the first step is to contact somebody that you love and trust, just so you have a support system. Let them know. If you have a spouse that is saying all of these things that you need to get done that day to so that they find value in you, oof, that's a whole nother episode, right? But the first step is to find somebody that you love and trust in your local area. And also, if you need to contact the police station, you can do that as well and let them know what's going on. If it is that situation where the spouse is treating you in a way that nobody deserves to be treated. Now, if it's just one day and your spouse says, oh, you didn't do the dishes today, set a freaking boundary, right? Set a boundary. Say, okay, number one, you do not have a right to talk to me that way. I wouldn't talk to you that way, so you can't talk to me that way. No, I didn't do the dishes today, and you know what? It's because I needed to rest. And if they have a problem with that, then they're not respecting your boundaries, and that's another issue, right? We can set boundaries, and we don't have to change our boundaries because somebody else doesn't want to adhere to those boundaries. So this podcast is almost over, but I do want to leave y'all with this. Ask yourself all of those questions and write down everything that you have felt unworthy with. If it's cooking, if it's cleaning, if it's being a homemaker without children. To some of us, it may sound like, who would feel unworthy at that? Oh, trust me, I have felt unworthy with that. All three of those. I have felt unworthy that I don't have children and I get to stay home and take care of the house. Because I thought that, people had put those negative beliefs, those limiting beliefs in my mind, that in order for me to stay home, I need to have children. And that is just so far from the truth. If you are in a place where you're able to stay home and one income is enough to provide for both of you, then stay home. I'm sure that your spouses appreciate what you do around the house, because being a homemaker is an extremely rewarding position to be in. And in today's world, people like to devalue that, but remember, we don't find our value externally. So I feel like there's so much more that we could go on with this episode, and we will maybe do a part 2 of this, but I just want to leave you with this. Write down all of those things that have ever made you feel unworthy, and then ask yourself, are they coming from internally or externally? If it's externally, then we know that is an unnecessary belief that we have, and we just need to rewrite that story, right? So we were born worthy, and there is nothing we need to add to. Better yet, it's more of removing things that don't serve us anymore. That just gave me chills. We always feel like we need to add things, right? We need to add. Like, oh, I'm not feeling worthy enough. What can I add? What can I bring to the table to make me more worthy? We're born worthy. There's nothing we need to add. There's things that we need to remove. There's things that we need to remove. We need to remove the beliefs that if I don't fold my laundry today, I'm not worthy. That laundry has no feelings. There is no emotion attached to that laundry. That laundry does not care if it is folded or unfolded. That is within us. So we need to remove that limiting belief that says our laundry needs to be folded at a certain time. We need to remove the limiting belief that said our dishes need to be done at a certain time. We need to remove the limiting beliefs that say if we put too much salt in our chili, then we're not good enough. We need to remove those things because the chili does not care. The laundry sure doesn't care. The dishes do not care. And believe it or not, as much as we give people power over us, at the end of the day, they don't care either. They're not going to bed thinking, oh my gosh, she didn't fold her laundry today. They do not care. And, I have seen people gossip and say, oh my gosh, her house is so messy. But do you think they're going to bed at night thinking about Kimi and how messy her house is? Absolutely not. So let's go of all of that limiting beliefs. And I know it may not happen today. It may not happen from this podcast or this video. But I hope that it just plants a seed in your mind, in your heart, that, hey, wait a second. I have been finding my value through external sources. And so now I want to focus on ways that I can find value internally instead. And if all you can do today is say, I was born worthy, write that down and make that an affirmation that you tell yourself every single time you even start to feel unworthiness or not enoughness. Tell yourself, I am worthy. I was born worthy. I was born worthy. I am born worthy enough. My best is enough. I am enough. And it may seem uncomfortable. It may feel like you're speaking a different language. It may feel very resistant to your body if you have definitely been beating yourself up into thinking that you're not enough. But over time, you continue to say that you are enough and your best is enough and you were born worthy. It will start to resonate with you and you'll start to believe it. You have to say it before you believe it. So don't let that uncomfortable feeling stop you from repeating it. So let's just say it. We were born worthy and there is nothing we need to add to. Better yet, it's more of removing things that don't serve us. So today I am removing negative beliefs, limiting beliefs that I've previously had that no longer serve me. I today am taking back my freaking power and finding self-worth just by being alive. Just by waking up today, I am worthy. I am worthy because I woke up today. I woke up today, I'm worthy. Like, just say it in the shower. I am worthy. I am worthy. I find my self-worth in myself by being born. I am here, so therefore I am worthy. Amen. Say it again. Say it again and again and again. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. We made some DIY hamburger helper. That's what I was showing y'all a minute ago. We washed out our washing machine. We got the laundry done. I had 4 loads of laundry that we folded. Aaron helped me cook. And we just got it done. Okay? And it's not great. It's not perfect. But it's my best. So I hope that all I ask from you is that you do your best, and your best is enough, and that you start to find value by looking inside yourself instead of looking outside of yourself. And if you have anything that you want us to discuss in the next podcast episode, then leave that also in the comments down below, and I will just add them to the list, and we're just gonna go over every topic that y'all want to go over. If you want to talk more about this, we can do that as well. But we have to start out first by finding value in ourselves, because if we're not finding value in ourselves, it's going to be hard to attract good things that we want in our life. So we got to start internally first, and then we'll work on the rest. So I love y'all and appreciate you so much for being here. Subscribe, like, comment, do all those things. And I will see you back here in the next one. Bye!